Hello there, everybody. Today we are going to be discussing Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 2. As usual, I'll be going over my thoughts on the episode first for about maybe 5 minutes or so, and then I'll go over to the live chat, and we'll be talking to you guys live for as long as you guys are here. And the usual... I guess warning's not the right term, but disclaimer, I guess, is obviously this is a spoiler discussion for Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 2, so if you have not seen the most recent episode of Peacemaker Season 2, and you care about spoilers, then this is not the stream for you. However, if you have seen Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 2, or if you don't care about spoilers, then stick around and continue watching and chatting and hanging along with us. So I really like this episode. I like the first episode as well, but I like this episode more than the first one. I think we got a lot more character moments and character beats, which I really appreciated. But the biggest reason I think that... Well, there's two reasons why I like this episode more. The ending I really appreciated, and the biggest reason for me is the comedy. Specifically, Tim Meadows' character. I mean, everyone was great in this episode, and the comedic moments for every character worked for me, whether it be Vigilante, or Peacemaker himself, or Economos, or whatever. But Tim Meadows' new character, I don't even remember his name, but he was absolutely hysterical. I was practically on the floor laughing at some moments. Some of his lines are, I'm not even kidding, some of the most funniest lines I have ever heard in just ever. He felt like my friend pointed this out when we were watching the episode, and I saw some other people online sharing the same sentiment, but he felt sort of like a Tim Robinson character, like a character that Tim Robinson could play in a lot of his line delivery, more so in just how the lines were written, I think, than the delivery, but just absolutely hysterical. I mean, the line when he says, when he looks at Adrian Vigilante, and he says, that guy looks like he caught all the Pokemon. That first one, I mean, that one was in the kind of teaser for at the end of episode 1 for what's next in the season, so I already knew that line, but it still cracked me up, and even thinking about the line cracked me up. But even more, the thing that was just had me dying laughing for a solid like 2 minutes, and something that I will continue to quote for as long as I remember the quote, is the bird blindness. And it only got funnier. First when you mentioned the bird blindness, like, all right, that's kind of funny. That's like a funny line. And then it hits its peak when he's in the house, and when Eagly is taking down the whole crew, and Eagly is attacking the one guy, and Tim Meadows' character is standing there with his pistol pointed at Eagly, but he calls her back up because he says, I can't tell how big he is. Like, that is just the stupidest but funniest thing I have ever heard. I was dying laughing for, I'm not even kidding, like 2 minutes straight. And then he says that, you know, a duck attacked him. I'm so glad that character was not killed off. I was nervous at first when the whole Eagly fight happened, and I thought Eagly was just killing these dudes. And my thought was that, you know, it's nice to have them around for at least one episode, you know, like at least what they got worked and landed. So even if they don't last past this episode, it was still a good time. But I really wanted to see Tim Meadows' character specifically in more episodes, and I'm so glad that he didn't die in this episode, because I need to see more of this character. This character was absolutely freaking hilarious, and I hope his future appearances continue to be as funny as this, because like I don't know, like it's hard to explain how funny you think something is, because comedy is so subjective. I saw some people online saying they weren't a fan of the character at all and just found him really annoying. And like all fairness to them, it's all subjective. Like, you know, I totally get that. I could not disagree more, though. I thought he was just absolutely freaking hilarious, and I need to see more of him. But I still really like the rest of the episode. I really like what they're doing with Harcourt, and her character. I like that we got another scene with Adebayo and her wife to kind of help flesh that out more. I hope we get a couple more scenes. However, I will say this. I am fully on Adebayo's side because her wife brought up, or not her, I guess her ex-wife brought up wanting to move back to Gotham. And like, why the hell do you want to move back to Gotham? Why would anyone want to move to Gotham? That was my first thought. So I'm still fully on the side of Adebayo. Now, we haven't seen what Gotham looks like in the DCU yet. And we won't probably until Clayface late next year. And even then, we might not get a full actual glimpse of Gotham. Maybe just like one little part of Gotham. But someone brought up that Gotham might actually not be the worst place in the world in the current DCU. Because this is a Batman who already has a Damian, right? So this Batman has been active for quite a while. He's been working in Gotham for quite a while. But not only that, most likely it's not just Batman. Probably Nightwing as well. Maybe even Red Hood, hopefully. Tim Drake as Robin, maybe Red Robin. Barbara Gordon at minimum Batgirl. Maybe she's Oracle at this point and Cassandra Cain is Batgirl at this point. So there's most likely a whole Bat family working in Gotham at this point. And I think there's a decent chance that Gotham might actually be shown as not a safe haven necessarily, but not as crime-ridden as some other iterations. Someone pointed out in a comic run that I haven't read yet, but at the start of a comic run, of a Batman comic run, Gotham is shown to be, there's different subsections of Gotham. There's places in Gotham that are actually much nicer, and there's places in Gotham that are much more poor, and some people are saying that's what we're going to be seeing in Clayface. So, to give Adebayo's ex-wife the benefit of the doubt, I'll resort to not judging her on wanting to move back to Gotham until I actually see what Gotham looks like now. But on paper, like, wanting to move back to Gotham is absolutely crazy. But I am glad we got that scene, and I hope we get some more scenes with them together. The scenes with them on the rooftop, the 11th Street kids just being 11th Street kids, I loved that. I love those kind of scenes, and I think that scene worked so well. And I think it led really well into the ending of the episode, which I really appreciated. And I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it if you guys have seen the episode, your thoughts on the end of the episode. The end of the episode, it didn't end in any kind of massive stakes-altering, life-altering cliffhanger. Well, I guess it was kind of life-altering, but it wasn't like some massive stakes-raising cliffhanger moment. You know, like episode 1, where he killed his doppelganger, or other TV shows that end on those massive kind of cliffhangers. It was more of a character moment. It was Peacemaker, Chris Smith, going into the other dimension and presumably making the decision to take over the life of that Peacemaker that he accidentally killed. And that's a big character choice. That's not a huge cliffhanger moment. That's a character moment. And I really appreciated that. And I want to see more of those kind of cliffhangers in shows. I can see how that kind of cliffhanger, that kind of episode ending might not be the most enticing to some people, but stuff like that is what makes Peacemaker and pretty much every project from James Gunn so good, is the fact that he knows when to do character moments, right? You have all this obnoxious, absurd comedy in Peacemaker, using Peacemaker as an example, with Tim Meadows' character and the bird blindness, and it's freaking hilarious. But then he knows when to not do all of that and to focus on the character beats. And that's exactly what the ending was. And I loved it. And I can't wait to see where the rest of the season goes. But yeah, overall, I really like the episode. I think on a story level and character level, it's right on the same level as episode 1 for me. And I think those Tim Meadows lines are really what pushed it over the edge to be my favorite episode of the season so far. Only 2 episodes, so it's not a lot of competition, but I really, really did enjoy the episode. But all that being said, let us move over to the live chat now. And as always, like I said, I will be talking to you guys live for as long as you guys are here talking. What's up, Hasm? Nice to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully your weekend is going well. Enzo, same to you. Nice to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. Do you think the New Mutants in the MCU should be a movie or a series? I think a series is better because the movie version from Fox did not work as a movie. Well, just because one movie didn't work doesn't mean those characters can't work as a movie. That movie, I haven't seen it. I heard it was bad, but just because that one movie was bad doesn't mean other movies would be bad. It all comes down to the script and execution, right? So that just seemed to probably have a bad script and bad execution. That doesn't mean a future movie can't have a good script and work well as the New Mutants. In terms of what I should think, I don't know. I have absolutely zero exposure to the New Mutants. I only know of Magic because, well, I know of Magic, like, from comics. Well, like, I knew the character before this, but my only real exposure to the character is from Marvel Rivals. I haven't read any New Mutants comics, so I can't speak to that. But I don't think it should be a show just because there was a movie that came out and was bad. Those two are... That's not necessarily how that works. Have you seen the JJK Season 2 trailer? I have not. I saw that it was out. I decided not to watch it because I don't know... I know spoilers for JJK for later in the manga toward the end, but I don't know the middle. So this is the part of JJK that I don't know. But I'm also not a huge JJK fan. I liked it. I liked the show, and I'm going to give it a rewatch before Season 3. And I'm hoping I like it more in a rewatch. I think my friends just hyped up Season 2, and just the show overall, but specifically JJK Season 2 so much that my expectations were just so high that when I ended up watching it, like, yeah, this is good, but they were hyping up as, like, the greatest season of anime ever. Like, this is the absolute, like, literally the pinnacle of anime, and I didn't think so. I thought it was good, but that's about it. I don't love JJK. For me, it's a lot more style over substance, and I prefer substance over style. I prefer both, you know, like something like Attack on Titan has both. But if I had to choose one or the other, I prefer a little substance over style. JJK to me doesn't really have a lot of character substance. It's a lot of just, hey, this looks cool, or this guy did something cool, and that's about it. And they don't really explore more of the character stuff. So I also just, for JJK, I just kind of want to go in blind, you know. But that's kind of how I am with most things nowadays. If I am able to avoid trailers and footage for upcoming shows and movies that I know I'm going to watch anyway, I try my absolute hardest not to watch them. When it comes to something like DC or Marvel related, I know that's going to be difficult purely because in these live streams, we're going to have to talk about it, right? So, like, when I'm doing the live stream in a little a little over a month now for the Marvel Television and Marvel Animation panel at New York Comic Con, when I'm doing that live stream, I'm going to have to watch all those trailers, and that's fine. I have no issue with that. But something like JJK or other anime like the Demon Slayer movies and whatnot, if I can avoid the trailers, I will. That way I go in as blind as possible because I know I'm going to see them anyway. So, long answer long. No, I saw that there was a trailer. I have not watched a trailer, and I'm going to try to avoid all the footage for JJK Season 3, so I go in fresh. Do you think have to fully adapt Marvel and DC with tones? I think is yes. I think dumb to change the character tones. He is fully serious, always in the comics. Keep him that way in live action. I don't understand the question, Enzo. I apologize. Could you maybe rephrase it? I apologize. I'm not understanding your question. What's your top John Williams scores? Oh, boy. I mean, all my top scores for John Williams would be all the Star Wars movies. I'll say my favorite one is Revenge of the Sith, purely because that's my favorite movie of all time. So it's quite literally the score that I know the most and could, like, hum exactly, like, on the spot. Attack of the Clones is up there, but talking about his non-Star Wars stuff, I think his Indiana Jones work is probably next for me. You know, let me pull up John Williams' his scores. We did Schindler's List. Oh, wow. I know we did Superman. Superman is good. Oh, Harry Potter's really good. Harry Potter's definitely up there. Saving Private Ryan. Oh, he did Jurassic Park, of course. Of course. I'll say, I mean, his Star Wars stuff is first for me. Then probably... then Raiders and Harry Potter are tied. I've only seen Schindler's List once, and it was so peak. I feel weird using that term for Schindler's List. I'll rephrase. Schindler's List is one of the greatest movies of all time. I've seen it once. I don't remember the score necessarily. I remember, though, sitting there. I watched it in history class in high school. And I remember sitting there thinking, this is one of the greatest movies of all time. I have the 4K. I think it's a steelbook of it, actually. I have no desire to ever watch it again. Because it's just so, like, it's so emotionally impactful that it's a movie that it's just so good. And it's a very important movie, but, like, man, it's draining. But I'm sure that score was great. E.T., I don't remember. I saw it once when I was a kid. Home Alone's a good score. Yeah, so, I mean, I'll say my top three. I'll say his Star Wars ones are first, then Harry Potter and Indiana Jones are tied for second and third. I think they still should have done a full reboot. This will be confusing. What about it will be confusing, Enzo? What about the DCU is confusing to you? I'll see if I can help clear things up a little bit. You should collab with the Escape Pod podcast. I have not heard of them. Escape Pod podcast. Oh, them. Never mind. I have heard of them. I just didn't know their name. I don't think I'm big enough to collab with them. I also have seen their clips come across my feed on occasion, and some of their takes I don't necessarily agree with sometimes. I also understand, though, I have hot takes, so it's fair enough. I mean, look, if they asked me to be on, I wouldn't say no. I'm down. They seem like good people. I'm down at collabing with good people in the community. So if they asked me, I wouldn't say no. My pick for a showrunner to the MCU New Mutant series is Noah Hawley. I know LazyPick, he did a very good job with the Legion series. That is something you can't deny. Oh, no, Legion was great. I didn't finish it, but Legion was great. Noah Hawley, I think, isn't he also just doing Alien Earth that just came out? I haven't seen it yet. Heard it's really good. Yeah, he did Alien Earth, Legion, Fargo, which I haven't seen, but it's really good. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. If he was attached to do something in the MCU or even the DCU, that'd be great. What's your most anticipated Marvel and DC projects? Most anticipated DC project is Batman 2. The Batman is my favorite DC movie of all time. It's up there. It's probably my, like, second or third favorite comic book movie of all time. Maybe my first after I do a rewatch of other movies. But I love the Batman so much. That's definitely my most anticipated DC project. With Lanterns close second. I'm a huge Green Lantern guy, especially Hal Jordan. So that's a close second. Most anticipated Marvel project. I mean, it's got to be Secret Wars. Gotta be Secret Wars. Doomsday a close second, but, like, it's gotta be Secret Wars. I don't care how I will die on this hill. Is it gonna be a bunch of fan service? Hell yeah. Is that a bad thing? Hell no. It's Secret Wars. Like, that's what I'm expecting. As long as it's a coherent movie, I don't care that every 3 minutes might be, oh my gosh, look, it's Tobey Maguire. Oh, it's Hugh Jackman. Oh my gosh, look, it's this guy, this guy, this guy. Because it's gonna be emotional regardless. Because that's the whole point. The whole point is that it's a final goodbye and send-off and tribute to the past 25 years of Marvel movies and shows before the MCU soft reboot afterwards. So the whole point is for it to be this final send-off closing thing. I don't think it's going to be incoherent. I think it's going to be a coherent story, and it's going to be emotional for multiple reasons. But, I mean, just seeing... I mean, Doomsday and Secret Warriors, he'll be in both, most likely, I'm assuming. So, like, having James Marsden back as Cyclops for me is incredibly hype and exciting. But the idea that most likely Secret Wars will have a chunk of the movie where Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, and Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, on top of some other characters, hopefully too. Like hopefully Chris Evans is in there in that mix as well. But that those three characters will be interacting on the big screen. Like I don't know how that can't be my most anticipated Marvel project, because that's just like a dream come true. Do you think they should keep Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in the DCU? I don't have any strong feelings one way or the other. I'm not a Harley Quinn fan. My sentiment towards Harley Quinn is the same sentiment a lot of people have towards the Joker. I'm over Harley Quinn. I think they really blew the character of Harley Quinn out of proportion. I thought she was fun. And this is nothing to do with Margot Robbie. I think Margot Robbie is wonderful as Harley Quinn. I would not mind seeing her again. This is more about the character of Harley Quinn herself. I thought the character was fine in the Suicide Squad. Didn't love her, didn't hate her. A lot of people did, though. So they took that character and they were like, oh, let's make everything Harley Quinn, right? So they made Birds of Prey, which was pretty much, hey, let's try to make Harley Quinn Deadpool, and it didn't work for me at all. And then they made the Harley Quinn animated show, which I think is at 5 seasons now, actually, which is actually really impressive. I know that show is fan base. I watched the first 3 episodes. It didn't grip me, so I stopped watching it. But then so I'm like, I'm not a Harley Quinn guy. I don't care for Harley Quinn. But then the Suicide Squad comes out, and I actually like Harley Quinn in that movie and want to see more of that Harley Quinn. So if they can keep up that Harley Quinn, I want to see more Harley Quinn. But since I've only really liked Harley Quinn in one thing out of the X amount of Harley Quinn projects in recent memory, I don't have much stake in Harley Quinn, if that makes sense. So I don't really care one way or the other, to be honest. I'm going to say they should probably recast just for the fact that the rest of the Gotham characters will probably be recast. The Joker most definitely, but obviously, most likely everyone else is going to be as well. So I think it just makes the most sense to recast Harley as well. But I wouldn't mind if they kept her. I wouldn't mind at all. I can't wait to see the sentient comic accurate, just finding all mutants in the MCU. That would be fun and dope. Oh, yeah, the mutants in the MCU are going to be so hype. I'm so excited. So excited for that. What are your top 10 non-Marvel DC comic book movies? Oh, are there even that many to rank? There probably are that many to rank. I don't have that many that I've seen. The only ones that I can think of that I've seen that are like comic movies are Kick-Ass, and is Kingsman comics or Kingsman not comic? I don't know. Kick-Ass is the only one that I can think of off the top of my head. I love those movies, so I guess Kick-Ass. I can't think of any other ones though that I've seen. So, yeah. Do you think Doomsday and Secret Wars should be a trilogy? Like, time runs out, Doomsday and then Secret Wars. If it makes sense, sure. I see people saying that. I think it should be whatever it needs to be. If the story works better as a trilogy, then they should do a trilogy. If it works good in 2 movies, then I don't think there's a reason to stretch it into a trilogy. It's whatever the story needs to be. I had no issue if they find out, halfway through filming Doomsday or Secret Wars that they realize, oh crap, this works better. Let's split this movie up into 3. Then yeah, do it. And if they need to push it back a year or 2, go ahead. I have no issue with that. But if not, then I'll go in trusting that this is the best version of the story that they want to tell. So it's hard to say without, knowing the story and seeing the script and everything. But yeah, it's what I think it should be, whatever it needs to be, whatever works best. What's up, Duolingo? Nice to have you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully your weekend is going well. Peacemaker episode 2 was so lame. In what world would a duck win a 5v5? I know, man. I know. And how dare the rest of his crew not go help him? He obviously couldn't tell what size Eagly was. He couldn't tell how big it was. He has bird blindness. Like, it's a real medical condition, and they're not taking it seriously. It really pisses me off. Funny. Oh my god. You weren't here when I was talking about Duolingo. Absolutely, one of the funniest lines I have ever heard was him saying that he couldn't tell how big Eagly was. Like, I was on the floor crying for like 2 minutes at how funny that was. Your favorite indie superhero? Does Invincible count with that? If Invincible counts, then Invincible. If he doesn't count, then I guess Kick-Ass maybe? I don't really have one. I don't consume much superhero content that isn't Marvel or DC or The Boys, I guess, but I don't, how indie is that really, right? So if Invincible counts, then Invincible. Do you think changing the character's tones from comics into live action? Personally, I think it's dumb because if the character is serious, always in the comics, keep him that way in live action. Oh, okay. I think it's not as simple as a yes or no. I think one, it depends on the character. So I know there was some controversy around Vigilante having a more comedic tone in Peacemaker. In the comics, he's more serious. And that's a valid criticism. I'm not trying to say people are wrong for having that opinion. My only exposure to Vigilante before Peacemaker was Season 5 of Arrow, where he's great. But I was never super attached to the character Vigilante, so his change to be more comedic in Peacemaker, I didn't mind, and I love Vigilante in Peacemaker. He's my favorite character. So for that, I think it's fine. There's also times, though, where it depends on where you are in the character's history. So we'll use Batman and Red Hood for an example. Batman. If you're doing a Batman in his year 1 or 2, you're going to have a Batman closer to the tone of Robert Pattinson's Batman, right? More broody than he is the Playboy Bruce Wayne. But if you're doing a Batman who is at the stage where he has Damian Wayne as Robin, like the DCU is about to do, then you should have a Batman who's not as dark and brooding. You should have a Batman who cracks a joke here or there, not in a quippy way like Vigilante, but like in a dry humor sort of Batman way. If you want an example of that, just look at any sort of episode of Batman the Animated Series or Batman in the DC animated movie universe. I think those are pinnacle of Batman adaptations that they should look towards, specifically Batman the Animated Series, for Batman in the DCU. But since he also has a Bat family, Batman is a little more open, a little more light when he's around the Bat family. So you're going to have a slightly different tone of Batman in the DCU than you're going to in the, like, say, Matt Reeves, the Batman. It's less about tones, I think, and more about who the core of the character is. So, with Batman being that example, yeah. If you keep the core of Batman there, you can have a movie where Batman is more brooding and edgy, quote unquote, like in Matt Reeves' Batman, but you can also have Batman be a little more of a Bat family guy and a little more do with the dry sense of humor in the DCU, just because they're at two different stages in their character journeys. What's good, Terrell? Thanks for tuning in, man. Nice to have you here. Hope your weekend is doing well. What's going on? What's your ranking for every James Gunn movie and show? My favorite is Superman, then Guardians 3, then The Suicide Squad, then Guardians 1, then Guardians 2. Put Peacemaker between Guardians 3 and The Suicide Squad. So Superman, Guardians 3, Peacemaker, my top 3. My craziest Batman theory? I don't know if I have a theory. Yeah, no, I don't know if I have honestly, I don't know if I have a crazy Batman theory. It's hard to have a theory about Batman and everything with the DCU when we don't really know anything yet. I don't have one. Who's your least and most favorite Spider-Man love interest? I am like the least qualified person to answer this question because I have not read a single. No, that's a lie. I've read some Spider-Man comics, but they don't involve the love interest. So my exposure to Mary Jane is the Insomniac Mary Jane, the Raimi Mary Jane, and season 1 of Spectacular Spider-Man Mary Jane, and a vague memory of Mary Jane in Spider-Man the Animated Series. And from what my friend tells me, those are not the greatest examples of Mary Jane to go off of. So because of that, I've always been a Gwen Stacy guy. So my favorite's Gwen Stacy. My least favorite, probably Silk, from what I know about their history, just because of what goes on with them, and it's a little weird. But I'm going to say Gwen for my favorite. Bro might be the question. I can't wait for Sentinels, comic accurate, just hunting mutants, aka X-Men. Yeah, it's going to be cool. I mean, I love the X-Men. You hated the Sentinels at Fox? I loved it with the Fox movies. It was the first time that the Sentinels actually felt scary and dangerous. I wouldn't mind them being more like the Fox movies, but I wouldn't mind comic accurate Sentinels either. Thought he was gonna be a nice cop when I saw him in the trailer. He's such an asshole, but it's funny. Oh my dude, he's so funny. He's so funny. I saw some people saying they weren't a fan of the character, and fair enough. Like, some people found him annoying. All comedy is subjective, so it's like it's totally fair that they thought that. I thought he was absolutely hilarious, and I'm so excited he survived the episode, and I'm so excited to see more of him, and I hope his lines of dialogue are as funny as they were in this episode, because he was pure gold. Do you think Chris Evans will return in Doomsday? I will. I do. I do think he returns in Doomsday. I do think he returns in Secret Wars as well. I do. Yeah. Have you seen the RDJ Ryan Reynolds drama? I have. It's been confirmed. I think it's been confirmed to be fake. Yeah. I think it's been confirmed to be fake. And just hearsay rumors for people that just want to click stuff. Do you think they'll do the Sue-Namor relationship in the MCU? I think they will have Namor maybe find Sue attractive. I think now that Sue is a mother, especially, and there was some, I guess, relationship tension in the Fantastic Four that they seem to have moved past a little bit. Who knows? Maybe they readdress it. I don't think they'll have Sue and Namor actually be a couple and have a romance. But I think they'll have Namor be attracted to Sue. Who do you think will be on Sam's Avengers? I think it'll be Sam leading it, as he should. I think it'll be Sam, Shang-Chi, if Captain Marvel's around, Captain Marvel. Depending on where Hulk is at the end of Brand New Day, maybe Hulk, maybe She-Hulk. Hawkeye, if he's not retired, perhaps. Ant-Man, definitely. Shuri, for sure. Who do you think will be in Daredevil's army? Well, everyone that we saw at the end of Season 1. And Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and I'm hoping the Punisher. I don't think Moon Knight will be there. I don't think Echo will be there. I unfortunately don't think Spider-Man will be there, although I wish he would. So I think it's just going to be the Defenders, I think. Along with everyone we saw at the end of Season 1. What movie do you think will be between Doomsday and Secret Wars? Right now, my bet is on Doctor Strange 3. I think it could be Shang-Chi 2, but probably not with Destin Daniel Cretton doing Spider-Man 5, or Spider-Man 4, I should say. In theory, it still could be Shang-Chi 2. In theory, it could be that Scarlet Witch movie that's been rumored for a very long time. I don't think it's that, though. Although I could definitely see that being what it is. My money right now is on Doctor Strange 3. The Sentinels are scary, too, in the comics. They never were to me. If they were to you, that's great. I'm not trying to say you're wrong. They just never were to me. The Fox movies were when I really thought that they were an actual threat to the mutants. Who do you think Tremel Tillman will play in Brand New Day? One of my friends says Robbie. I think that's a possible choice. But other than that, I don't have a guess. My first thought was Tombstone and then Norman. Both of those have been deconfirmed. Some leaguers have said that he's not Tombstone or Norman. I guess that doesn't confirm that he's not Tombstone or Norman. But if he's not, if I'm taking them at their word, then he's not Norman or Robbie or Tombstone. So I'm gonna say Robbie right now, but he could really be anybody. Who's your Booster Gold fan cast? My fan cast for Booster Gold is either Glenn Powell or Chris Pratt. But if they want to do someone like Kumail Nanjiani, if they want to do someone else, I'm open to it. I'm open to it. That his castings have not failed so far. So I'm open to whoever they want to cast. Gotta go. I'm back in like an hour if the live is still going on. Don't want to kill the live, but gotta go. No worries, Hasm. No worries at all. Appreciate being here. Appreciate you asking some questions in the chat and being here and interacting. But I have caught up with the chat, so as always, I'll stay here for about a minute or two to see if there's anything else that you guys want me to talk about and discuss. If not, no worries. I'll be doing another live stream next week for Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 3 as well. And we have Marvel Zombies quite soon. And then, that Marvel Television, Marvel Animation panel at New York Comic Con in October. So we got some streams coming up. Get a very good voice actor to voice the Sentinels. That changes everything. Maybe. I mean, I thought the voice actor for the Sentinels in X-Men, the animated series, was quite good, but that still didn't make them that terrifying. I mean, you could argue that it's a Saturday morning cartoon, so it's not going to be as scary. But I mean, it's totally possible that they end up being scary while still being comedy accurate. It's totally possible. All right, I think it's going to be where we end the stream today. Thank you guys for tuning in and interacting and watching. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'll do another live stream next week for Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 3. So be on the lookout for that, along with streams talking about the new episodes of Marvel Zombies when they air. And then, stay on the lookout for that scheduled live stream in the next couple of weeks for the Marvel Television, Marvel Animation panel at New York Comic Con. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time. Remember to be punk rock.